Emma found a letter hidden inside an old book. She expected to find a forgotten message from the past. But when she opened it, her hands began to shake. The letter was written in her own handwriting, and the date at the top was 10 years in the future. Welcome back to Speak Without Fear. Imagine finding a letter written by yourself, but the letter is dated 10 years from today. What would you do if it told you about a mistake you had not made yet? Today's original English story is about a mysterious letter, a difficult choice, and a lesson that Emma would never forget. Sit back, relax, and improve your English by listening to today's story. Emma was 28 years old and worked at a small bookstore in the center of the city. She loved books because they allowed her to travel to different places without leaving her chair. Every evening after work, Emma enjoyed walking through the quiet streets before returning to her apartment. Her life was simple, but she often felt that something was missing. She had recently received an offer for a new job in another city, and she had only 1 week to decide whether to accept it. The new job paid much more money, but it meant leaving her family, her friends, and the bookstore she loved. Emma was confused and spent many nights thinking about her future. One rainy evening, while cleaning an old shelf at the bookstore, Emma discovered a dusty brown book hidden behind several large dictionaries. She had never seen the book before. There was no title on the cover, and the pages were yellow with age. Curious, she opened it and began turning the pages. Most of them were completely empty. But when she reached the final page, she noticed a small white envelope tucked inside the book. Her name was written on it. Emma stared at the envelope in surprise. She looked around the empty bookstore, wondering if someone had left it there by mistake. Slowly, she opened it. Inside was a letter. The first sentence made her heart stop. "Dear Emma, if you are reading this, you have already found the book." Emma read the letter again. The handwriting looked strangely familiar. It was neat, simple, and exactly like her own handwriting. She continued reading. The letter said that it had been written 10 years in the future. Emma laughed nervously, thinking it was some kind of joke, but then she saw the date at the bottom. It was exactly 10 years from that day. The letter continued. "I know you are thinking about leaving the city. You believe the new job will give you the life you want. You believe that more money will make you happier. But before you make your decision, I want you to remember one thing. There is a person you have not met yet. That person will need you more than you can imagine." Emma's hands began to shake. She wanted to stop reading, but she couldn't. The letter explained that Emma would soon meet an elderly woman named Clara. Clara lived alone in a small house near the bookstore. According to the letter, Emma would meet her on a rainy Tuesday morning. The future Emma asked her to pay attention to what Clara said because that conversation would change both of their lives. Emma looked at the calendar. The next day was Tuesday. She decided to stay near the bookstore and wait. The following morning, the rain was heavy. Emma stood near the front window watching people hurry through the streets. At exactly 10 o'clock, an elderly woman entered the bookstore. She was wearing a long gray coat and holding a broken umbrella. Emma immediately knew who she was. "Are you Clara?" Emma asked. The woman looked surprised. "Yes," she replied. "How do you know my name?" Emma didn't know what to say. She remembered the letter and invited Clara to sit down. Clara explained that she had lived in the neighborhood for more than 40 years. Her husband had passed away several years earlier, and her children had moved to other countries. She often visited the bookstore because it reminded her of the days when she and her husband used to read together. Then Clara said something that Emma remembered from the letter. "I wish I had spent more time with the people I loved," she whispered. Emma felt a cold feeling in her chest. Those were the exact words written in the letter. Emma suddenly understood. The letter was not telling her to stay in the city because of money or because of her job. It was asking her to notice the people around her before it was too late. Emma decided not to accept the new job. Instead, she stayed at the bookstore. Over the next few months, she became close friends with Clara. They drank tea together, talked about books, and shared stories about their lives. Clara taught Emma that happiness was not always found in exciting places or expensive things. Sometimes, happiness was simply sitting beside someone and listening to their story. One evening, Emma returned to the bookstore and found the mysterious brown book on the same shelf where she had discovered it. She quickly opened it. The envelope was gone, but there was something new on the final page. A single sentence was written there. "Thank you for listening." Emma smiled. Years passed. Clara eventually passed away peacefully, surrounded by people who loved her. Emma kept the memory of their friendship in her heart. She continued working at the bookstore and eventually became its owner. Every year, she helped young people who were unsure about their future. Whenever someone came to her feeling lost, she listened to them patiently. Emma never found out who had written the mysterious letter, but she no longer needed to know because she had learned something much more important. The future is not always waiting for us somewhere far away. Sometimes the future is created by the small decisions we make today. And sometimes the most important choice is simply to stop, look around, and notice the people who need us. Emma spent years wondering who had written the letter. But in the end, she realized that the mystery was not about discovering who had sent it. The real message was about learning to appreciate the people we have today before they become memories of yesterday. Thank you for listening. Practice your English by listening to this story every day. If you enjoyed today's original English story, subscribe to Speak Without Fear and join us again for another unforgettable story.